And good evening, everybody. It is time again for the Bill and Paul Show here on SoundSugarRadio.com. We're also live streaming to the Music Society of Strathcona County YouTube page as well. Paul, how are you this Monday night?
Hello, sir. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys very much for joining us today and every Monday from 6:30 to 7:30. It's absolute delight to have you guys here. Bill, man, oh man, I've been going through some just some physical health issues. I fell on ice 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
Man, oh man, I'm just sore. I'm just sore.
The aches and pains.
Man, oh man, I tell you, good. Everything is really good. Wow, what a show on Friday night, hey?
Good music club show. Lily Monahan, Ravenwood Music Club. We only have one more to go. March 8th. Mallory Chipman will be joining us. But yeah, Lily Monahan put on a great show for us this past Friday evening. Another sold out Ravenwood Music Club. So if you haven't been to one of those yet, we have, like I said, one more show left. Tickets are on sale right now. RavenwoodExperience.com. Only $20 online.
So here's what I heard from people on Friday night. I heard, wow, this atmosphere is unbelievable at the Strathcona County Museum and Archives. And I absolutely agree. And I said to you off air, I said, my gosh, we do any more of this and we're going to have to get a bigger venue. No, because we love it in there.
Yeah.
We love it in there. It is, and it's just, and that's exactly right. The atmosphere is unbelievable. It is so conducive to an acoustic set.
It is, yeah. The sound is good in that room, and as we've said in the past, it's just an intimate, relaxed venue. So it's a nice place for everybody just to kind of hang out and have a good evening.
Except the problem is, we sold that one out too.
We did, and next one, like I said, tickets are starting to sell. We've been selling actually for the next show already, so it's moving right along. So hey, Paul, by the way, as you know, last week we had on from Festival Place, Brett Fraser. We had some technical issues, so it was late in the show before we were finally able to get him on with us.
The joys of live radio, dudes.
So I felt it was important that we get him back on to this show and get him on as soon as possible.
100%.
And, Brett is actually here. We're not going to have technical difficulties tonight. Let's bring him right on. Ladies and gentlemen, Brett Fraser from Festival Place. How are you tonight, Brett? We're here. We can talk to you.
I'm not backstage.
You're not backstage. You're with us. So,
yeah.
But hey, yeah, good to have you with us again here on the Bill and Paul Show on SoundSugarRadio.com. And Brett, I know last week we talked a little bit about some of the upcoming shows and a little bit about your background and that kind of thing. And one of the things that I wanted to touch on, but we didn't have that opportunity because we had to wrap it up due to being short on time, was you also have a real strong volunteer program at Festival Place as well. So obviously you have your staff, but also how does the volunteer program work?
Generally, we have about 60 volunteers that many of them have been around for many years. They sign up for their own shifts online, pretty easy going, and we have up to 9 per show, minimum 5. They're well trained in safety and fire evacuations, etc. So it's intense training, but it's and they're pretty consistent, hardworking group. And we're always looking for volunteers.
Okay, well, here's the question that I have, Brett. Sorry to interrupt. Here's the question that I have, though, Brett.
Sure.
These volunteers, you mentioned they're really well trained. Do they have to come from an arts background?
No, we're pretty well passion driven. The arts background is trainable. There's with the different types of events we have, they usually know how to do something. So whether theater background or rock and roll, or kind of the passive public assembly side of our business. They tend to come in with one of those being their specialty. and the other parts are later created. Theater obviously is very quiet. Get outside the room. Any issues, any questions. Don't stand around and tell your life story while there's a live performance going on. So whereas rock and roll, you can have that conversation and you can have a dance with the audience if you want. It's a lot less rules. So we definitely try kind of keep them all on the same level.
And so go ahead, Paul.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to.
You had a question.
I was just gonna say that you talked about constantly. You still need more volunteers.
Yeah.
If you have those volunteers that say maybe don't have the interest to be working in a backstage capacity or anything like that, but they could work as an usher or something along that line as well, right?
True. And one of the things that I'm most actively recruiting right now is are young adults. Um, Generally, most volunteers tend to be seniors, which is the core group, and they're amazing. But I think they also have a lot to offer each other. And so one of the kind of priorities right now is trying to find some people that are in their teens, the late teens. And if you find that they pair really well, they can learn from each other, the night more exciting. It also adds to the customer experience. And I'm finding thought that there were the kind of young adults that are having trouble finding job experience. I thought we can address that in the community as well. So, but amongst things, the volunteer program is, we're kind of scratching the surface of the depth of the importance of it. And for us, for the people involved, customers, keeping the price point down, and just trying to find that consistency.
Right, right, for sure, for sure. Paul just had to step out of the studio here for a second, but
Sure.
so yeah, so you've got that great volunteer program. The other thing that you do at Festival Place as well, and I don't know if I should bring this up or not because I know you guys are so busy and booked all the time, but you do rent the space out to organizations as well.
Yeah.
So like I said, Brad, I don't know if it's something
I'm actually really glad you're bringing it up. Yeah.
yeah,
So I don't know if it's been our strength historically. Festival Place is an amazing environment, and I don't think that the rentals have been overly prioritized. And my second last stop, that's all we did was rentals. Call it industry wise, it's called a roadhouse.
right.
It's an important part of having a balanced program. Do everything.
hmm
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure.
And in fact, going into the fall, I might break this here is we're the Roadhouse series. We have a patio series. We have
Yeah,
a presenter series. We have festival players. But right now, one of the programs and priorities for me and the team right now is to figure out how do we encourage rentals. And that is a large part through this what we're going to dub the Roadhouse series. And that is trying to help other promoters do what they need to do in our environment to be successful, to get their message out to Sherwood Park and Strathcona region.
hmm excellent. Well, yeah, it is a good space for sure for that.
And our rates are extremely low. So we can't go any further and lower, but what we can do is try to support local promoters, even national promoters that may not know about us, and international promoters as well, to ensure that the community is getting all streams of content.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, that's something for sure. And again, like you alluded to, it's a great space for that type of capacity, for that rental capacity.
Really is,
Um,
and there's a real gap in the region in
yeah,
regards to available space.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So hey, the one thing
So,
we haven't we didn't really get to last time either, Brett, was I kind of wanted to ask you, like obviously you do the booking for a lot of the the big major acts that come in on the weekends and things like that. What do you have a favorite genre of music, or are you kind of open to everything, or
I'm completely jaded into whatever sells, because that means the customers want it.
of course?
Personally though, born in '75, so the '90s is kind of my sweet spot. But no, I'm pretty much for patterns of what the bands are doing business wise, what they want to charge, and I'm afraid it keeps coming back down to the break-even point and on that
Hmm.
performer.
Hmm.
Brett, it's interesting. You mentioned, I mean, you have to kind of hit the nail on the head of what the customers want, and that's absolutely true. How do you know what the customers want? Do you send out surveys? Do you follow
Oh
social
yeah,
media? I mean,
definitely.
do you have musical dosing rods? What do you do?
All of that. I live and breathe it like you do. I don't stop. I look at what in the morning till the time I go to bed as far as what's selling. Look at other one of the things we have an advantage of these days is all these Ticketmaster and even ours, Artman. You can look at exactly how things are selling across the country. So
Hmm.
generally, a lot of the things that are available are currently touring elsewhere, whether it's out east or down south.
Hmm.
I can see what they're doing real time, and I can see what the prices are exactly. Row 10 is empty, in Ontario, and it's amazing. And so it takes a lot of the guesswork out. When was the last tour history is a very key factor. I look at a lot as far as how long ago, what kind of numbers they did, what have they done since then to engage their audience. And when it comes to new music, I look for live performance. So if there's not the number history, I generally look for uh, YouTube's and anything that has quality production in regards to how can they play.
Yeah.
One of the disadvantages we have these days is the recording engineers are so good that
Hmm.
it's impossible to tell from recorded music if it's play live. So, and that's one of the guarantees we have, whether we make money or don't make money on a day-to-day basis, is we want to guarantee quality.
Hmm.
And the best way to do that is researching the live performance. And even if it's their friend pulling up an iPhone, that gives you a better perspective than what you may have heard on CKUA.
Hmm. For sure. Now, are you finding, obviously, in your research and in your booking, are you finding, Brett, that there's a certain uh, genre or a certain year of music that's selling better than others when it comes to selling
Oh,
tickets?
Yep, I was
definitely.
just gonna ask the same question, Brett. Which way is the music? Where's music going in terms of live music? That's exactly the question that I wanted to know too.
Well, where is it going and what's selling? Those might not be the same. So what's selling right now, without putting in any effort, is a lot of the tribute shows. CCR, I have two of them sold out right away.
Hmm.
Probably could have done three or four.
Hmm.
The Eagles, but sold out two. Probably could have done three. We just had Queen, we just had Elvis, sold out, sold out. So, those, and I'm not even putting marketing into those.
Hmm.
And it's, yeah, and they're great musicians. They are, as they say, playing note for note, cut for cut, and those will continue to sell for the years to come. Next year, a handful more of those. So, but what that does is it helps us to target our marketing and our efforts more into more original music, which I still book more than 8% original. But that 20%, I tell you, is easy money, and the 80% is not. Because that large factor in that is them getting the message out to their fan base as well. And that's why one of the things I've been doing recently is making sure that the deals have been structured so that they participate through the promotion of in our market specifically, not just their music and their new album and trying to sell their T-shirts, but they're actually trying to sell our seats incentivized. So, which I don't think that's that uncommon. The industry standards are versus deals, but So what's selling in the future? I right now would say country is going to be strong for a long time to come, and why? It's because there's no definition of country right now.
I just gave you a look, Bill, and you know what that looks for. I just gave you a look. I guess I better start getting used to country.
Start liking some country music.
I guess I better start liking some country.
Yeah. I know that is a big market for sure. The country market, like you said, Brett, it's pretty undefined in what you really
undefined
country music. Yeah,
I remember even in the first CCMAs I worked in 2004, you're walking into a room and it's one of the most diverse rooms you ever saw, actually, because there's the country western, you have pop, you have rock, a lot of that stuff in the 80s would be rock and roll. We had Bigger Rich, who was almost rapping, and it wasn't a big room. Mm-hmm. But it probably was 25 genres under one umbrella. Yeah. And you just knew that was going to work. Lots of great mix of male, female, stars. It gets a bit of a bad rap, but I think a lot of people love it.
Mm-hmm. Brett, for those people listening that don't know what goes into bringing in a band, booking a band. Can you give us the ABCs of booking a band and bringing it in to Festival Place?
Yeah, whether pretty standard across the board.
Because you're not because Brett, you're not talking to the band.
No, agent. I just got off the phone with an agent right before I got on this call. You start with you gotta go through the pecking order. Like, I know a lot of managers. I know a lot of musicians, a lot of bands. But we also know the hierarchy is agent, then manager, then band, and then musicians. So in my you stay agent level all the time. It doesn't hurt to get a nudge from a manager, but generally you can only get away with that for so long. And it's proper, probably like the business. You talk to the right people, time. And one of the things we do, whether it's a Rexall place or whether it's a festival place. I've always been heavy into and I want them calling I want to be thought of first by the agents, and I want to be first thought of by the audience. And that's the same reason, volume, and so that kind of So I want prospect. People are just even putting ideas off as far as what do you think? Finger 11 is going to do next year. I didn't
Right.
say that, but it. You know how what's the market good for? You know, that you tend to, most of the agents don't live here. None of their agents really live here.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why I'm so sort of the rental market as well, which we were talking about a couple minutes ago, really relate to the buy-in market as well, is that you need to be that local. You need to tell them that their tickets underpriced or overpriced. Their volume is underestimated or overestimated, and build that relationship so that you're the first on call. And that's worked out pretty well for me the last 20 years. And yeah, and set for the next 20 years. But it's relationship based, and it's about being able to market and being able to represent your region.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Totally get that.
Yeah, you know a lot about that too, Bill.
Yeah, I've been through that as well. But I'm going to ask you a question, Brett. And you don't have to name any names here at all, but I'm just curious, being in what you do and booking different artists, different bands, etc. Have you had that majorly bad experience with an artist who's come into the venue and has put the whole ego thing right out front, and maybe it's the road manager, or maybe it's the sound tech they bring with them, or maybe it's the band themselves? Again, not really naming any names, and I'm just curious if you have some stories.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot of festival place. Everybody's been pretty nice. One of the things, you even now you see we're tired. They're they're on the road. They're irregular sleep. It's you have to be extra nice and just smile and nod sometimes, because that their bus broke down. That they're having to FaceTime with these kids, and it's eating bad. It's everything. The road is way overrated, especially with we've been on it for a minute. And so there's that. But certainly I can tell you camps are worse than others, and it's usually starts with artists. They tend to hire managers and personal assistants and people that kind of look after the dress rooms and catering, that really are very similar. And I can tell you that there's been some pretty big showdowns as far as what their expectation is, and what we're capable of delivering. And more at the arena level, there was a lot of ego. And ironically, a lot of people can't sell arenas anymore, so they work themselves out of the business in a lot of cases. So, but one of the things about me is I'm so which annoys a lot of people in that work. I'm so unrattleable. They can't rattle me. So some people think you don't care enough. But the truth is, I'm working 3 shows down in my head, so it's hard to get me upset about this one.
Yeah, it's like playing chess. Got to look ahead for that next move.
You do, and generally, I'm glad the world works on logic for the most part. So when you get the call the next day from an agent in a different province or country, it's normally pretty easy to kind of tell the truth, and the truth will set you free as far as what their take on things were. But for the most part, like I say, I can understand but for the most part that they get. It has a lot to do with food and sleep, and that kind of like a lot of people talk about the riders being so specific, because that's like the little bit of comfort that they get in that being on the road for 100, 200, 300 days. They want that living room to be somewhat being resembling everywhere they go, because it's just a little mental comfort.
Right. Right. For sure.
And Brett, you just said it, rider. Maybe explain to everybody what a rider is, and what kind of crazy items have you had in reading and in providing for artists riders in the past.
Well, basically, it's an extension of their contract. So it usually has a lot of technical parts of it, which the rider is 5, 6 pages long. The first 3 pages are what kind of drums they play, what kind of amps they want, what kind of microphone, what kind of lighting, kind of cues, etc. So, and then the last food and beverage and hotels and right down to the details of what kind of couch. We had to rent a lot of furniture over the years. We had to buy furniture because nobody rents, white leather, angular couches and make the entire room into white with drape and then light it red. And it's like, why don't we just make it red? But so yeah, that's we get very particular, and the food types I think is pretty well publicized as far as the snacks. But there is a lot of times. The landmines are usually just you're reading it properly. They want to know that if you're reading it, because of the technical stuff, they want to move in and they want a smooth day, and they want to make sure that you know what you're doing and you're prepared for them. But these days, one of the biggest things is we at Festival Place don't give them all the alcohol they ask. We are not there to get people wasted. So we will provide a couple drinks per person. Sometimes round up if you can't. You can't split a bottle. It's hard to split a bottle lineup. But overall, and recently even, where's my big bottle of vodka? It's down the block. There's a Safeway liquor.
Yeah, there you go. No, that makes sense. Well, we got to wrap up here pretty quick, Brett. And I just wanted to maybe just before we finish up, we did talk a little bit about this last week, but why don't you pump up a couple of events you got coming up real quick?
This weekend we have Family Day weekend. We have an amazing 6-day run of Matilda Junior. There's some tickets left. We've oversold it quite a bit. I have to go back to MTI Publishing and pay them some royalties because I've oversold it. But it's done very well. And then right after Matilda, we have Magic and Miracles, which is magicians out of the UK. That's pretty exciting. It's doing a 24-show run, which once again kind of emphasize mental. And of course we have the CFCW 70th anniversary on March 10th. We have Brothers Landreth coming. We have Trans-Canada Highwaymen, which yes, where there's a high in there.
There is.
Yes.
Yes.
Brett, on the live stream, not that Ivanka has posed a question to you. The question is, what are your thoughts on venues taking merch cuts? Is it a vital part of the venue being able to be profitable? I have heard arguments for and against them by different artists I know. That's from Not That Ivanka on the live stream.
That's an amazing question. I've heard it talked about quite a bit, and one part I haven't heard answered the merch cut usually includes a lot of expenses. Includes credit card fees, staffing, the rocks and the setup and all that kind of stuff. One of the things I'll tell you specifically, we've moved away from it. Dan Megan was a big one that pushed us into reevaluating. And so, yeah, we generally don't. I wouldn't say that entirely because there are exceptions to the rule. But yeah, I know industry wide, it's a very touchy subject. And one of the things that if you take 0%, are you still obligated to set that space up? Are you still obligated to sell for that artist? Are you still obligated to set up the pay machines and yeah, so who's doing that? And a lot of the touring acts just don't have the capacity for that. So it's not like you get 15% of merch and it just all falls to the bottom line. And so yeah, it's a bit of a complicated situation because people want their, especially in Edmonton, they want their black hoodie. And so and that's what we want too. But how do you get there is a bit different. So I personally not had that problem because we've been able to figure it out in advance. But I know there's a lot of artists that don't want to pay anything, but yet they want someone to do it for them. And then there's a lot of venues that want to do nothing and take a big cut. So those two extremes, I think, have made the news, and the majority of us haven't.
Right. Well, that makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Brett. Well,
Okay.
we got to wrap it up here. So again, thank you for jumping on the Bill and Paul show for a second
Appreciate
week
it.
in a row. This time we actually got you on the whole time without the technical issues for sure. And yeah, if you're tuned in, get to festivalplace.ca. Check out the events. You can buy tickets there. Or you can go into the box office as well and buy tickets there to any of the shows that you see. And as Brett has mentioned, there's a whole bunch of fantastic shows coming up at Festival Place. It's
Matilda
ongoing.
Jr. this weekend, you guys. Matilda Jr. this weekend showing Festival Place.
So go check those out. All right, Brett, thanks again for joining us on the Bill and Paul Show. And Brett is gone. And yeah, man, he's got a lot going on there, Paul.
I find his job absolutely fascinating, and I think
Yeah.
that's a lot of the reason. Well, you're into it.
Yeah.
With Ravenhood.
Ravenhood.
With Ravenhood. I've had trout mumbled this week with Ravenwood, with the Ravenwood music experience. You've been into it for years, but I've found this, and that's kind of an extension of why we have Sound Sugar Radio, because we're music lovers and we love what we do and we love live music, and it's kind of an extension of what Brett does, really.
Yeah. He's booking for his one spot. The biggest thing is we're booking for our Ravenwood Music Club, which is 6 shows, and then the Ravenwood Music Festival, which is the outdoor festival. But we're not booking all year long.
No,
he's on the phone every day with agents, like he said just before he came onto our call. He was on the phone with an agent.
Books. He's got to book.
He's booking a year in advance.
Sure, and he's probably booking.
Yeah.
At least 52 weekends. He's probably booking at least 60.
Oh, probably
at least 60.
Yeah, he's got every weekend. Like he's booking now for next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's always got to be a year in advance.
Absolutely.
So he's got a lot of work ahead of him for sure.
I just find it fascinating.
Yeah, and not that Ivanka. That was a good question for sure. Asking about taking a cut of merchandise sales. It's always something that's kind of up there as, do you do it or do you not? I know we look at it from our side of things, even with Ravenwood. We do supply a tent, we supply the table, we supply the merch sellers, we supply them doing all the setup, making sure that they have lists of what's being sold, etc. But do you still take that cut from the artist or don't you? And that's the big thing.
I guess in the long run, here's the thing. Do we want to be able to book the Taylor Swifts and the U2s and the Coldplays and the Depeche Modes and the Rushes. Yes, absolutely, we would love to bring that to our community.
Hmm.
We absolutely would. But the fact of the matter is, it costs, baby. It
Hmm.
costs. So I guess in the long run, kind of a roundabout way. Um, if you've got a favorite venue that you have, go to that venue, support that venue, spend your money in that venue,
Hmm.
because then your money is then in that venue. Ergo, their profits raised. They're going to bring bigger bands.
Yep. Well, and yeah, that is the biggest
I mean,
thing.
that's
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. And as Brett said as well, and as Paul said, you're constantly keeping an eye on the cost of bands, and like anything, with inflation, they put their costs up as well. So the Taylor Swifts of the world and the Coldplays and all those bands of the world are far out of reach of our snack bracket for the kind of shows that we do. Their arena and full stadium shows, and they're in the millions when it comes to trying to bring them in. So
But I guess, Bill, my point is that if you want in your community, if you want quality in your community, you have to support that community. I
mhm.
guess that's my point.
Yeah, yeah. You have to support the community. You have to support the event, obviously, with ticket sales, etc. Getting the word of that event out there so that people do come out and see it as well. And the more the event builds, whether it's ours or somebody else's, the more opportunity it gives them to bring in, you know, more named acts as the time goes on as well. But I found it curious or interesting that Brett says, I've kind of heard this in the music world as well, that as we move into future, that country's becoming a big item again for shows
But
and
it's
concerts.
but it's never not been.
So,
So I'm surprised that he said that, because in my humble opinion, and remember, I'm not much of a country fan. In my humble opinion, country's never not been a
hmm
big thing. It's been a big thing when I was DJing 25. I finished DJing 25 years ago, and it was a big thing then.
yeah, it's
You know,
it's it's always been uh, um, out there for sure, and I think it's like fashion. Fashion constantly goes through cycles. So you go through a year where all of a sudden the '80s fashion's back, or the '90s fashion's back, or the 2000 fashion's back, or the look of the '50s is back. Whatever. Music kind of goes in that cycle as well. Because I've kind of seen some years where it tends to be a lot more rock shows and rock tours, and maybe 40% country tours. But now it seems to be, like you said, now it's switching. The country tours seem to be growing a lot more as compared to the rock tours. So yeah, maybe it's going in that cycle again where everybody wants to see country music. So we're going to see more country music shows come into town than we will rock shows.
and it's interesting too. And I'll just give a kind of an AM/FM contemporary hit radio, CHR contemporary hit radio spin on this. Is in our local market, the local AM/FM country radio station has always been at or near the top of the
Mm-hmm.
ratings.
Mm-hmm.
Always at or near the top. Always at
Yeah.
or near the top. It's never dipped.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it fascinating.
Well, I would say, yeah, probably in the Alberta market for sure.
For
That
sure.
it's Alberta is a huge country
Yeah.
market,
Yeah.
so that's a thing for them. I think I find with Alberta, there are a couple of things. They're a big country market, and they also are huge lovers. At least probably maybe the baby boomers, but they're huge lovers of the '80s and '90s music. They love to see the bands, and as Brett brought up, they have the Classic Rock Albums organization, which is doing shows at Festival Place. They did Queen before Christmas. They've
Hmm.
got the Eagles tribute coming up.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
sell those shows out
Yeah.
like right away.
Yeah.
So those markets seem to be the big two markets right now: the
Well,
country music market and the '80s and '90s
I think
bands. And
nostalgia sells.
yeah,
Nostalgia sells, I think.
that's what people seem to want to jump on and
What's
want to
your
go see.
what's your fun? So you are executive of you're co-executive of the Ravenwood Experience. What's your favorite part of putting on not putting on. What's your favorite part of organizing, of setting up the festival? Is
Uh,
it booking the bands? Is it is it talking about which bands we bring in? Is it talking about merch? Is it what's your favorite part, Bill?
the booking of the bands can be fun, but it's also can be challenging and stressful depending upon who you're dealing with and what agent you're dealing with. And again, I bring up the fact of the money that is involved. So that's fun to a point. Like I said, it's also the negotiation side. Bigger acts can get a little stressful,
Hmm.
but overall, I think the biggest and the funnest thing for me is when the event actually takes place
Hmm.
and people are walking in the doors to come and watch that band and enjoy the event that you've put together, whether it be like the Ravenwood Music Club, which, as you said, we've been selling out, or the Ravenwood Music Festival, and people start walking in the gate that day of the festival, and the field starts to fill up of people coming to see the music because all that work that we've all put into getting this organized is now actually come to fruition. It's showtime, and away we go.
It's kind of a darn it we did it moment.
Yeah, and away we go, and the show's underway.
So then what? So then what's your least favorite part?
Probably the money part. That's not my favorite part for sure. So we have a fun person obviously on our board who takes care of they watch the budgets and things like that, but that's always ongoing, especially in this type of business and industry is never knowing if you're going to have enough money to put on the next show. You always make sure that there's money in the bank account, but every year changes and every show is different, so that's probably the hardest part is making sure that the funding is there to cover all of your costs.
And what's interesting is because not diving behind the curtain too terribly much, but I mean, the music festivals far and away look for grants and funding from their immediate community, from their immediate province, from their immediate state, from their immediate country. They look far and wide for funding to make it the biggest and the best festival that they possibly can. And I got to tell you, and you can attest to this
Hmm.
more so than me. After COVID, it's been a tizzy.
It's been tough, yeah, because pre-COVID, sponsors were a lot more available, businesses were a lot more accessible and wanting to sponsor events and that kind of thing. And post-COVID, of course, businesses were hit just as much as events, festivals, music venues, etc. were hit. So a lot of the businesses are still trying to get back on their feet, and maybe pre-COVID they were happy to sponsor you with a check and give you some money to help out. But post COVID, it's sometimes like pulling teeth to get the sponsorship you could get pre COVID, and that includes media sponsorship and everything else. It's become very very difficult now. You got to really get out there and pound the pavement and find just those right businesses that are willing to still, kind of pull some money out of their bank to help you out for in return, giving them some promotion and advertising to the best of our ability as well.
Um, you all gone to the grocery store. You all seen how prices for tomatoes and milk and meat have gone up. Well, it's the same thing in the music industry. Not in the music industry. It's the same thing in the arts industry. Everything's gone up. Everything's gone up, and again, you can speak to that a little bit more. You know, uh, tech companies that have raised their prices. Artists have raised their prices. Everybody's raised their prices.
Yeah, yeah, the prices have gone up. And the one thing, well, we can say it for the Ravenwood Music Festival, the supplier prices, band prices, everything has gone up. But we're doing our darndest to keep our prices for the tickets at a reasonable price so that people can come, right? Funny thing, I was reading ticket prices this morning for the Super Bowl.
Oh,
There was a little video that had been done by one of the major sport networks, and it said that so if you wanted to sit 50-yard line, uh, in the lower bowl of the Vegas stadium, minimum price was $16,700. So if
for one
so
seat.
if yes, so for one seat, but and if you wanted to sit in the nosebleeds, way up at the top, still you're up there, and the players that look like ants. They were selling in some cases for as much as $14,000
Okay,
a
Bill.
ticket.
Bill. Name a band
So
where you would pay 14 grand to see, Bill.
I can't think of any band I would
Me
play
neither.
14 grand to see. And I know
Me
that some
neither.
tickets for Taylor Swift, for the Swifties out there, have been selling into the high thousands. You know, you want to get a floor seat for a Taylor Swift show, you're probably going to pay 10, 12 grand maybe.
Wow.
So, you never know, right? So, yeah, it's
I guess
pricey.
long story short, guys, is the prices are going up, and again, in a roundabout way, go and support,
Yep.
keep the prices, if not going up, keep them steady, so that they don't have to go up anymore. Support. My gosh, and that will help your community uh, to retain the money so that they don't have to raise their prices.
Well, and the problem, of course, with these big shows, like your Taylor Swift, for an example, is as long as people will keep spending the money to buy those tickets, it's like how do you get them to come, eh, how do you get that ticket price to ever come down? Because if Joe Blow is willing to buy three $6,000 tickets because he needs to get his daughters there to see Taylor Swift,
See, you know and I know that there's always going to be sellers.
yeah,
You know and I know that there's always going to be sellers. So there's always going to be people selling at that $16,000, but it is at a very big minimum. But the fact of the matter is the market doesn't realize that it is the minimum. They don't care if one person's going to buy a $16,000 ticket. If one person buys a $16,000 ticket, they're keeping it at $16,000
hmm
because they're betting on two people paying $16,000. They're not going to drop their prices, which stinks.
yeah, yeah, it makes it very tough for
It
sure.
stinks.
We've got about 15 minutes left here, Paul. I brought up some events that are coming up. Of course, one which is on right now is the Silver Skate Festival, which normally well, had to change locations. It's at Laurier Park this year. So Sir Wilfrid Laurier Park, February 9th to the 19th, they actually had to truck in snow to try and help out with their event. And I know the executive director of that event quite well, so I'm sure it was a bit of a stressful uh, setup year, being that first they had to change locations, and then this year they're trucking in snow.
Well, it's funny that you say that because we've got a list of events, and and these are annual events, and this year 2024, some of these annual events right beside it canceled because
Yeah,
there's no snow. We have no snow.
there's no snow, and a funny thing I guess happened just the other night to the Silver Skate Festival. So they have a big bonfire at night, and being that this is the first year in Sir Wilfrid Laurier Park, they had their big bonfire, but I guess somebody from up above in the river valley, whatever, called the fire department because they thought that Laurier Park was on
On
fire.
fire.
So numerous fire trucks showed up. The fire department showed up. It was quite the event.
Canadian Burkerbeener Ski
Yeah,
Festival. Guess what? The actual race canceled.
yeah, canceled. There's not enough snow to do.
Not enough snow.
Yeah,
Burkerbeener cross country skiing,
yeah.
big cross country ski race.
They're going to do a virtual one now.
They are. That's correct. But
Yeah,
the actual physical one canceled. My brother's done that a few times.
yeah.
My brother's done that a few times. Says it's crazy cool, but crazy hard. He says.
This one sounds interesting. February 10th to February 25th, Sweet Treats and Latte Festival.
And those are all businesses, most participating businesses in and around Old Strathcona in the heart of Edmonton.
Yeah, looks like there's a few different ones that are going to be involved.
So Sweet Treats and Latte Festival. That's a latte, also known as coffee with milk, Bill.
I don't drink coffee, so
Yummy.
yeah. This one sounds interesting as well. Indigenous Storytelling Series,
Love it.
taking place Fort Edmonton Park, February
Um,
10th to March 23rd.
Absolutely love it. If you are a storyteller, God love you because that is a skill and a talent that I will never have. Storytelling's amazing, and I equate it somewhat to opera mostly like in Italian. You have no idea what they're saying, but you just get it
Yeah,
because of the
you
way
figure it
that
out.
they tell the story. And these are professional storytellers who have an absolute passion for their art, and it's fascinating. I love it.
Um,
And the reason why I say that, sorry to interrupt, Bill, the reason why I say that is because it's indigenous. So
yeah,
there might be Cree storytelling, uh, where I mean, if you don't speak Cree, but you're going to get it because the passion of the art of storytelling is so tangible and beautiful. I love it.
For sure. Immersive Disney animation. I've heard this is quite the show.
You going to that?
I haven't got tickets at this point. I've thought about it. February 15th to April 28th at the Edmonton Expo Center. So it's the Immersive Disney Animation is coming to the Edmonton Expo Center. An immersive Disney animation, you won't just see a whole new world, you become part of it. You step inside your favorite Disney songs and scenes and see the characters up close like never before.
It's kind of neat, eh?
Yeah,
It's kind of neat.
like
I'm a Disney. I'm not the Disney fan that you are, but I am indeed a Disney fan.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. That'd be neat. Actually, I was thinking about the Star Wars exhibit that they have at a local mall in Metro Edmonton.
Yep.
Hit and miss. Hit and miss. I've heard. So I'm not sure I'm going to see that one, but that's going on at Southgate Mall as well. The Star Wars exhibit.
What's coming up at Métis Crossing?
Métis Crossing is, I don't know. Family Day.
Yeah.
I forgot that's this weekend.
It is a long weekend.
Family
coming
Day
up.
weekend at Métis Crossing. It is a romantic getaway, and the reason for that is obviously because of February 14th on Wednesday, Valentine's Day. Métis Crossing, family fun, Family Day weekend. You can come in absolutely for free. You and your family seize the opportunity. Once you're in there to save 10% on signature experiences when you book for February 17th and 18th. Now you can indulge in a variety of activities for all family members, young and old, including Woodland Critters Puppet Show, which is showing, I believe, on the 18th. There's tobogganing potentially. If we get snow, cross country skiing potentially.
Bring your own gear for that.
Bring your own gear, and it might be bring your own snow if we don't get any. Snowshoeing, again, bring your own snow if we don't get any. However, if you want to try snowshoeing, guys, this is fun too. Snowshoeing is it's low intensity, so you do not have to be a marathon runner or the proverbial athlete. It is low intensity, and rentals are available. You can rent your own snowshoes for a leisurely snowshoeing walk. I love snowshoeing. I've done it a long time ago, and I miss it. Fireside storytelling, traditional outdoor games that is happening at Métis Crossing, February 17th and 18th. That's this coming weekend. Smoky Lake. That's in Smoky Lake.
Yeah, I know that building well. I was involved in the building of it.
Were you?
We did. I did all the helped with all the audiovisual design.
Look at you go.
What else we got happening here? We've got
Beer Fest.
Edmonton Beer Fest pre-party.
Beer. That's because they never make it to the party.
Pre-party. That's taking place at the Common, which is 9910 109th Street, Edmonton, Alberta, right downtown.
Very cool. Very fun.
Yeah.
Cold Garden Brewery's there. They do this every year. There's DJs there. There's irresistible dancing there. There's food. There's drinks. Chance to win exclusive VIP prizes. Awesome swag getaways. Lots of stuff going on. Beer Fest. Love it. Love it. Love it. By the way, you can get a free Beer Fest general admission and after party ticket as well. You can win that
just by being there. Wow.
Yeah. Cool. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I was at it 1 year.
Yeah. And how was it?
A lot of fun. Very busy.
Yeah.
Very busy. I am 49 years old, and I was about 29 years too old.
How was the beer?
So after a couple beer, I didn't care that I was 29 years too old.
Yeah.
I didn't care. You know what I tried? I tried Dark Side beer.
Oh wow.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Dark Side, and I'll.
Did it turn you to the dark side after you had one?
It was not good beer.
No.
It was not good beer. I'm sorry, that's not the name of the company. That's just the name of the beer. Yeah. So I'm good there, but it was not good beer.
Well, look at this. You can go from the Beer Fest to the Wine Fest.
The Wine Fest. You can stumble
February
from
23rd and 24th
to the Wine Fest.
And that takes place Edmonton Convention Center, 9797 Jasper Avenue. Wow.
Downtown again, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Convention Center. Yeah, we know Convention Center. Convention Center. As you go down the river valley, you may or may not notice that the convention center looks as though it is closed and under renovations. It is not. It is in fact open, full amenities, full facilities. Yes, they may or may not be under tarp and canopy because they are undergoing renovations, but trust me when I say this, I was just there last week, I believe, looking as beautiful as ever, and full amenities, wide open, you guys, for February 23rd, 24th.
Looks like you get to try all different styles of wine under one roof.
You're not a wine guy, are you? Are you a wine guy?
I don't mind, a nice white wine, red wine off and on, but I don't mind a nice white.
But you're a go-to beer dude, right?
I like to drink my beer. I like to drink a nice old fashioned or something along that line, a little bit harder.
Is that right, eh?
Yeah, I like that. So this event has one ticket includes a sampling of wines, hors d'oeuvres, and a take home wine glass. Wow! Prepare your palate and enjoy a variety of red, white, port, sparkling, and dessert wines.
Port. Delish.
You like port?
I do so. I do like me my port very, very much. Yeah. Funny if I can just go back to Beer Fest. I still have my little cup from Beer Fest.
Do you?
I do so. You betcha.
You got your little cup.
I cannot remember what year that was. I want to say that was 2020, maybe 2019. Maybe earlier actually, but a lot of fun. Beer Fest and Wine Fest, guys, this weekend and next weekend, I do believe. So,
Winspear Center. February 27th, McDonald plays The Planets, an emotional musical journey.
Yeah, I don't know. No, it's not the restaurant, by the way, guys. It's not the restaurant. Mark McDonald, not Ronald. This is Mark McDonald. Davis Concert Organ. He's going to be on the Davis Concert Organ.
Playing it. He's not going to actually be sitting on the organ.
No, he's going to be playing it. He's going to be tickling the Davis Concert Organ. Performances with the National Youth Orchestra of Canada is where he usually performs. He's been known to do the Victoria Symphony, Cirque du Soleil, Winspear Center. He will never. He hasn't been to before. So he'll be there for the very first time coming up. And he's doing Holst's The Planets.
Wow.
Who's Holst?
It must be...
I don't know. That's one I don't know.
Because it says here, written between 1914 and 1916.
Holst.
Yeah.
I know Beethoven.
Yeah.
I know Bach.
Holst the Planets.
Holst.
This piece represents all the known planets of the solar system seen from Earth at the time and their corresponding astrological character.
Kind of sounds cool, Bill.
That's kind of...
It's cool. You know what'd be really cool? If they actually had like the planetarium thing, like the planets under, that'd be cool. I mean, they don't have that at the Winspear, but that'd be pretty cool.
It would be kind of cool.
That's neat. For orchestra lovers, such as myself, by the way, I love orchestra music. And I'm going to go home and actually listen to Holst now because I'm very curious.
Got to find out about it.
I like it, Holst.
All right, let's do one more event before we got to wrap up the show here real quick.
Skirts of Fire. The Skirts
Mermaid Legs.
We love this festival. The Skirts of Fire Festival, Mermaid Legs. This is happening from February 29th all the way until March 10th. Skirts of Fire. It's celebrating women in the arts, and that is what Skirts of Fire Festival is. And what they do is they endeavor to confront stigmas surrounding mental illness as well. This is not a mature festival. This is a festival ages 13 and up. Is recommended, so your kids are good to go.
The show Mermaid Legs is a surreal theatrical dance, Fantasia.
It's so cool, and it talks about the struggles of sisters Billy, Ava, and Scarlett when Billy abruptly departs, leaving behind a chaotic apartment and a cryptic note. A cryptic note. I want to say it that way. A cryptic note. Ava and Scarlett find themselves grappling with a complex history. That's the main stage production for Mermaid Legs Skirts of Fire Festival.
Production by Beth Graham.
So fun.
Alrighty, we got to wrap it up. It's been another Bill and Paul show here, soundsugarradio.com, and of course on live stream YouTube channel, Music Society of Strathcona County.com. Big thank you to Brett Fraser from Festival Place coming on and talking all about Festival Place, music, booking of music, and all that fun kind of stuff.
Can't stress this enough, guys. As Brett talked about so fondly, as Bill talked about, as I talked about, support your local arts communities, whether it be a festival, whether it be a brick and mortar building. Support, guys.
All right, everybody. We will see you all next, possibly next Monday is a holiday. So
is it? What is it?
It's Family Day. So yeah,
to be determined whether we're going to be here or not.
We'll figure that out. All right, everybody.
Bye.
See you.